Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I haven't done a video in ages, but I just completed my first full season of markets, so I thought I would do a little video mostly to help you guys understand what markets are the best markets to go to. And I will say this right now, I have some notes, so I will be looking down at my phone because I will just forget something if I don't use my notes. But yeah, I don't want this to be like a recap of like how my markets went per se. I want this to help you work out what markets in your area are the best suited for you, because my art is my business, it is my career, and some people do art markets as like a little side hobby and everything like that. But if you're like me and are trying to make this into a career, I wanted to do a little video to show you like where is the best places you can go. I'm only going to be talking about like in your local area because I haven't like branched out of Norfolk yet because I'm based around Norwich. So yeah, my main focuses for talking about the different kinds of markets will be on location, like where they are in relation to like the city centre, pitch fees, and the level of advertising they do, as well as who is the market for, like what is the market's target audience. And I might do a little map that might keep coming and appearing on screen just to like help you understand what I'm on about as well. But I have done 5 markets this season, which it's enough for me. I'm happy with that level of markets. I would have loved to do more, but I had more, but I had to pass because of other commitments. Also while I'm here, I'm using my wall chair as a microphone stand because cute, and I've seen other people do it. I don't know how effective it is because his ear is not as like strong as I wanted it to be. But this is from 06 Frog. So yeah, support them as well because I love their work so much. But yeah, hopefully Wolfchan works as a good microphone. But yeah, so let's get started. The first market I did this year was at the Forum in Norwich, which is pretty much bang in the city centre. And this was also my first outdoor market, and I know that some people might be a little bit like, I don't know about outdoor markets, whether like you want to do them or not, and it is definitely not as scary as it sounds. It is a lot of trial and error because no one really talks about having the correct weights, because my gazebo did not come with correct weights, but I found that out. But anyway, once you've got it sorted and you know what to do, it's so like, I think I actually prefer it to indoor markets because you have more space and you can grab more like people essentially, because if passers-by they see the market and they're like, oh sweet, let's look at this. I might do a separate video of like market tips I learned this market season as well. So yeah, as I've said, the location is pretty much bang in the city centre, and as I said, being outside does help with footfall. I think the thing with a place in the city centre, like I don't know if other cities have like similar things to the Forum or not, but because it has outdoor and indoor space, and it's because the indoor space for me is also a library, so it does always have like footfall going in, but a lot of the times you don't necessarily know if anything's happening on the forums, so that is where advertising is needed for sure. I also did another market here, which is I'll talk about later on because I want to do these in order of what I did, but I had similar experiences at both, but they were slightly different, and I will talk about that later as well. But yeah, the pitch fee for this is like, I would say from what I've done, the standard pitch fee for these events is about like £60, and I think this is what I paid for this one as well. They might be like 65 variants and stuff like that, but I find that 60 tends to be like the going rate. And basically, if an event has a £60 pitch fee, that is kind of where it tells you that that's what you want to do if you're doing this as a career. If it's cheaper than that, it kind of lets in like more hobby people, I would say. So just keep that in mind when looking at pitch fees. But yeah, this event was a £60 one for an outdoor pitch, and I'm pretty sure it was more expensive for inside as well. And I will also be inserting some clips of my market, so insert clips of this market here. But yeah, I actually really liked my setup that I did for this. So yeah, I found that the location of this venue was really good because I got a lot of footfall. It was a really sunny day as well because weather does help. I used to think that weather would just impact if you were like outside, but it turns out it does impact both inside and out, as I will talk about later as well. When it comes to levels of advertising, I find that there's like 4 different waves of advertising, some of which I've learnt from my Christmas season, which I only did a few, and there was like a lot of errors I made in that season. But you either have hardly any, which kind of relies on people seeing it on the day and dropping in, Then you have the Facebook level of marketing, which I will talk about in the next market. And then you have the Instagram ones and TikTok. The level of advertising at this event was they had a social media presence, which is a good thing because obviously you need it online. I am only really present on TikTok and Instagram for this, so I'm not really sure how much promo goes on like Facebook or anything like that, or if they even promote it on Facebook at all, because most of my customers I got from my own social media, and that is one thing that I learned the most, which I will talk about in another video for sure, is the impact of doing your own social media. Because even though I got like 5 customers from my own social media, 5 customers can bring in a lot of money in terms of markets, and those 5 customers pretty much covered my pitch fee, I would probably say. There's 2 types of promotion. There's advertising on site and online. Online, they had a presence. I'm not sure how much reach it is, but that's something that is hard to gauge from an outsider because we can't see their insights. But on the day, there was like a lack of outside things, which they have said that they will improve on from other feedback, but that didn't necessarily impact me from being outside. But that's one thing to keep in mind for if you're inside, you need to try and find out if there's going to be actual like posters or billboards outside the venue to get people in, and who was this market for. And quite frankly, I don't really know because it was a spring market, so basically anyone could apply for whatever they are, and I feel like this is probably one of the reasons why it wasn't successful for other people. I was okay, and I've talked about it before that I managed to do social media work to get myself in a position to be okay, but some people found it a bit slow, and I must admit that's because they didn't really have a niche. They were just like markets and anyone could be there. So keep in mind when applying to an event, does the market organizer have like an audience in mind? Because yes, everyone can come to an event, but everyone is such a wide audience, and that means it can lead to loads of people not being interested necessarily. Loads of people could turn up but could only like buy something from like one stall, whereas if you have a niche market, all the people that turn up will probably buy from loads of stalls. Basically, that's what I want to say with that. To sum up, being in the city centre is really good and you get loads of footfall from people that don't even know an event is going on. However, if the advertising hasn't necessarily worked or is for all ages, it can be a little bit like messy with how like what the customer base is, because you will get everyone, and that means that you will get loads of people who aren't interested in your work. So we keep that in mind when applying for markets. Who is this market for? Because being in the city centre and nice weather does not always guarantee that it will be a successful market. And if you're indoors in the city centre, keep in mind how well the organisers will advertise that you are inside, especially if there is another event happening in the same place, because those people, which was the case for this event, might not be interested in an art market, and if people that are interested in art markets see an event which is not targeted for art market people, they're not even going to bother going inside. So you need to keep in mind when applying for these events. The next market I did was in a town outside of the city centre. However, this is a market which is kind of well known. Like, I've known about it for years. Like, I think first time I went to this event, I was in high school. So it has been going on for ages. And the longevity of an event can be a good way to gauge how popular it will be, because people will have it in their minds and know it comes up. And like, if it keeps coming back, it's obviously successful. And also has a good reputation, I would guess. This isn't always the case. Yeah, the location is quite central to the actual village, but obviously a village has less population than a city, so you will always have less people attending this event. However, as it is a well-known event by locals, it might encourage people to make the drive to come visit the market. However, this is where I found out about weather impacting markets, no matter if you're inside or outside. This event had both outside and inside traders, but I was inside for this one. And it wasn't a horrible day. I think it might have rained at one point, but I was inside, so I couldn't tell. But basically, it was a bit windy. And obviously, if it's not a nice day, people aren't going to make the point to go out. So you always have to hope for nice weather, no matter where you are. Unless it's like a pre-ticketed event, like a convention, you're not going to guarantee that you're going to have footfall, because people just don't like bad weather. So you have to hope for good weather on all occasions, no matter if you're inside or out. But yeah, this one had a good range of demographics, because the last one I talked about, it was everyone. Like, everyone came. This one had a range, but it was mostly families and elderly people. And I find that my target audience is mostly people my age and like Gen Z and millennials. I can't say that. Oh my god. I found that my work isn't really suited to elderly, mostly because people just don't get it. Because I do a lot of like fan culture things, or it's too cute and too childish for them. So that was like a big proportion of my like audience that were coming just lost because my work was not for them. The spectrum was so heavy between elderly and children, and it was really like weird that I hardly had anyone in the middle, and most of my sales did come from the people in the middle. But one thing, if you have cute things and you think that your work will attract children, be aware of the parents, because in this market, this was more like people that came to this event had like a smaller budget. And one thing I found at events like this is also like the pitch fee was cheaper on this one, so it does encourage more like homemade crafters that don't necessarily use this as like a career, basically. It isn't their main focus, and that is where people sell more cheap stuff, and is kind of where the customers would want to buy more like cheap things for £1 or £2, because my best seller at this event was stickers, which were my cheapest item. So basically, keep in mind when you go into a place with loads of children, because parents will just usher their children away from your store. And every time, I've seen this many times, when their children see my store and they see the bright colours and everything, I can just see in their eyes that they regret not pushing them away from me. And like, I understand it, like times are hard, like you don't want to be spending so much on my work if you've got a tight budget. Like, I totally understand that from the parents' point of view, but it is a little like frustrating when you know that there's like their kids would absolutely love my work and they're not gonna buy it. But again, I understand completely. So that's one thing, is that if you think, oh, this event will attract children, does your work meet the budget of the parents that will be with those children? Because that is the main thing, is that children will love anything. They will love anything cute, love anything colourful, but do the parents have the budget? That is the main thing. It's not really about the children. If the children will want it, children would always want it. Especially if you have things that are like touchy and feely, like I do with my keychains. But yeah, here's like an example of my setup from the event. So I'm here today at Wyndham Abbey Market, and I thought I'd just show you my setup because it's a little bit different to what I usually do, because I was so busy preparing for my like 2 tables for my gazebo that I had to like work out how to shrink everything onto one table. So for this one I focus mainly on prints, and all my like Stray Kids and more fandom things will be left for my other markets, but this is just because I think these will do better here. So I have prints up on a pink standy thing here, and I'm using what I usually use for my stickers as another print display, and for my mystery packs and notepads, and yeah, everything else is pretty similar to what I usually do. So I'm interested to see how today goes, because I think at the moment it's just started raining, and obviously I'm inside an abbey today, so it doesn't really bother me, but obviously if it's raining outside people might not come, but we'll see. I have absolutely no idea what to expect from this market, because it's kind of like in between 2 kind of markets I've done before, because I've done more like local ones and they haven't been the best. I've still made like some money from it. They haven't been like the best in terms of like longevity, like I couldn't live off doing these markets. But there's also those people here that I recognise as well from bigger markets more in Norwich, so I'm interested to see what this will be like. For the advertising, this event I heard from my mum, who got it from Facebook. It's not a warning sign, because there are good events that only advertise on Facebook, but they didn't have an Instagram account that I could follow, and as that is where most of my demographic is on social media, it missed the mark. I didn't have anyone come that said, oh, they came because of me, basically. Facebook marketing works if it's for the right demographic, and my demographic isn't the people that are always on Facebook. And also because I'm not on Facebook myself, I don't know how much promotion they did, but I think they did do some, because I kept seeing my mum like reshare things on her Facebook about this event, so I'm guessing that they did do stuff like this. But yeah, as I've also said, it is a well-known event, so chances are people know about it and will just see it's coming up, because if it happens at the same time every year, people will know, this is an event we always go to, let's just go along and see what they've got this year. So yeah, I would say I personally won't be doing this market again for a long time. And that is only because I know that my work does not meet the demographic, as I have explained in this section. So location is not to blame, because there was quite a decent footfall. I wouldn't say it ever got quiet, it just, I wasn't getting the customers, and that's a me issue. But if my work changes to meet more of the older generation, or basically we get out of a cost of living crisis, because I know that kids like my work, but the parents don't want to pay for it. So I'm going to wait a year or two and see if my work will fit in with this audience. But this was a really good event to learn that. The third event I did was literally the next day. I was in the city again, but I was on the outskirts of the city centre, which makes this venue harder to get to. Like, you kind of have to make the journey to this venue. Like, I don't think I've ever walked past it in my entire life. Like, you have to make the journey to this. However, it is a well-known venue for markets, so people might be like, oh, let's just see if there's anything on at this place today, and then drop by and see what's happening. But what does help with this market is that this is an event which is very well known in my city, but their social media has really taken off, and this is because they have a niche, and their niche is aimed at women, LGBTQ, neurodivergent creators, and that is kind of exactly what my demographic is, because, like I've already said, I'm kind of Gen Z millennial. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I apologise. If you aren't those people, then you're obviously not going to have the same kind of success at this market. I would say that if this market was located closer to the city, it would probably be one of the most successful markets that I would do, because it would have the exact niche for my work and proximity to grab people that didn't even know this event was happening. And the pitch fee was like around the normal 60 mark. If you've got your market, you will make it back and you will make a good profit. If the market doesn't attract your niche customers, it is going to be hard to, you might break even, but it's going to be hard to make any profit on it. But yeah, the advertising is good. It hits a niche, which I must admit, Norwich is full of people like with my niche of stuff. Like, I was actually shocked at how many K-pop stands I found over this like spring season, because I do a lot of K-pop stuff and theatre stuff. There's loads of people that love those two fandoms so much in Norwich, which I'm very happy that this is where I'm located, because in other places it might just not have been as successful. This event has ticked all the boxes. It has good levels of marketing. The pitch fee is probably right for what the event is, and it is a market which is very suited to me. The only downside of it is, I think, location, because if people know an event is going on but it's not easily accessible, they just might not bother turning up. But that is my only criticism with events like this, is that if you are on the outskirts, how accessible is it? Like, look into that, basically. And because each city will be different, but I know that loads of people are bothered to make the trek out to this market. So now I'm going to take it back to the city centre, and this is probably what I would say is like the biggest market in my city that I went to. And I don't know, like, I'm guessing that most cities have like the market, the one that everyone knows about, the one that everyone says is really good, well organised, and this is the one I did, because it pretty much ticked all the boxes for me. It ticked the location, being right in the city centre, and being outside means that I didn't have to worry about people not noticing, but also the way this is organised with so many stalls outside, you can probably see some images that I'll overlay here. It kind of tells you that there are more stalls inside because of how it's arranged. It kind of has like pathways to like guide you inside, which is very smart on their behalf. And they also did have some advertising outside that said like more stores inside, which is very good for on the day. Their advertising online has been really good and really professional. They even managed to get like a bit in the paper, which is very good because it reaches people that aren't online as well. It brought everyone along. This event was for everyone, but everyone who was interested in local makers. Not just people who wanted a good day out, not just for like a Easter activity. This was specifically for people who love to support small makers. And I had people with kids come along. I had people my age, I had people slightly older, I had elderly people, and literally I had such a range of people buy from my stall, and it was amazing. But the main thing they had in common is that they all loved supporting small creators. That was the main thing for this, and that is why this market is so successful. So if you can find an event which is very popular, very well organised, very well promoted, which encourages people to support local creators, that is the market you want to get into. This market is very competitive to get into because, like I've said, it is one of the best ones in my area. So of course people are wanting to get into it, and that is the only downside I have of this, is how competitive it is. They have many dates, but I only managed to get into 2 this year as of now. I might email them to see if they have any like small reservations, like things like cancellations at some point as well. But yeah, in the city centre, really good. Pitch fee was reasonable, like really reasonable for the turnout I had. The advertising was great, and it literally appealed to everyone who would buy, which is the main thing. So if you can find a place that ticks all these boxes, you will be in for a winner. And of course, these markets will be more competitive to get into because of how good they are and how well everyone knows that they can do well at these events. I just wish there was more events that like ticked all of these boxes, and I'm pretty sure there are a few I have in mind that can reach this. And I just think it's because this market has been around for a very long time, and you can't get successful just overnight. You need to build up the reputation with your customers and know that it's a good event. So I think there will be some more events like this in Norwich to grow over the years. So it might be in like some cities, like I'm guessing London probably has a few of these events which are like really well, really strong. But obviously the smaller the city, the less like you are to have multiple events like this and organisers. Probably will include some clips. I even filmed like midway to show how like successful this was. As you can see behind me, there is so many stalls here today. I'm outside the forum again, no you can't, that's my gazebo, there you go. I'm outside the forum again today, and there's a lot busier than when I came last time. So yeah, my stall has pretty much stayed the same as per usual, but I'm slightly on a corner this time, so I've expanded around here. But yeah, I'm hoping it will be a really good market because it looks so good, and I want to look around, but I can't because the market starts in 4 minutes and I've got to be here. But yeah, I'm very excited, and hopefully it goes well today. So I'm actually doing a mini update because this has been my best market I've ever done, and so I thought I just wanted to give you an update on how it looks. But it is actually, I can't believe it is my best market I've ever done. But yes, I'm very happy with how this turned out, and I have some things that are sold out because my Stray Kids deal is now sold out. I've run out of all the freebies, and I am on my last one. Of these keychains as well. So for future reference, I feel like I need to bring more of these because people of Norwich like Stray Kids. But yeah, my theatre stickers have been really popular. Like, I only have 2 Hadestown stickers left, which is crazy. But they've all been really popular as well. My photo card holder's been really popular. Some of my art, I thought this was going to be my most popular print, but no one's bought it yet. And like my pigeon stickers are really slow moving today as well, but you just can't predict. But yeah, this market has been my best one yet, so I'm really happy, and I would definitely recommend this market to other people. And I'm now on to my last market I did. It's kind of on the outskirts of the city. I thought this one was going to be impacted by weather, but it wasn't because it turned out to be nice. But I'm wondering whether the weather forecast, because it did predict rain, but it didn't rain, did impact the flow of people. But I must admit, it was pretty much busy all day. However, there was a dip in the middle of the day, which it was around lunchtime, so I'm guessing that's just when most people had their lunch, but it did pick up again in the afternoon. It was, again, a normal kind of pitch fee, but I would say that this is a very well-targeted marketing campaign because it is an alternative fair, and this is who they were trying to attract to this market, and from what I could tell, they successfully did that, and their marketing pretty much probably targeted people who would only come to this event, because I'm guessing that if like someone who was not into alternative things at all saw an advert for it, they would just swipe away and the algorithm would probably pick that up. My work isn't the most alternative. Like, my selling point for being there was K-pop, because that's what I thought would be like the biggest seller, and I had some ghosts as well, which was obviously like, you know, spooky alternative, but that wasn't my biggest seller. And it just really confused me because I didn't know if I was going to get accepted to this event because of my work is just so colourful and bright. But obviously alternative people do like these things as well, because like, looking at me, you think K-pop, pretty pop stuff. I do listen to rock music as well, okay, like, I love Fall Out Boy. A lot of the gothic people didn't really stop at my store. I don't really sell much black things except for ghosts and stuff, which didn't sell anyway, but I think it was because there was just so many ghost things out there was like a saturation of the market. I don't think the location was an issue because this was a specific market that targeted specific people, and these people knew about the event. They didn't just stumble upon it, they knew about it. If it was in a closer city area, I'm wondering if more people would have stopped by, but because it is marketed as an alternative event, whether that would just not encourage passers-by to go in it or not, or whatever. So I'm not sure whether this would have the location impacted it or not, but it was also in a historic building. There would also be visitors that just wanted to come to the hall anyway. But yeah, I think I probably said everything for that market. So as I started this video, I talked about that there will be 4 things I'll be focusing on, and that was location, pitch fee, advertising, and who the market is for. And I just thought I'd do a little roundup. First is location. Location is really important, I would say, and it's that you are more likely to have more success the closer you are to a city centre. However, it is not always as important if the marketing is right. So basically, all of these things are interconnected, basically. And if you've got a really strong niche, the location of your market does matter less, I would say. And then pitch fee, the cheaper the pitch fee, it is more likely to attract more crafters and people that do this as a hobby, which is not to diminish these people at all. No way, because like some of these people who only do it as like a side hustle are some of the most creative people that I've seen. Advertising is very important to get people to the event. The closer you are to the city centre, the less important it is. But if you are in a building which isn't obvious that there's a market going on, it is very important to know if the organiser has things to draw people in. Whether that be posters or whether just like signposting via having other stalls that kind of lead you into the building. But also it is not just the organiser's responsibility to use social media to attract people, because if you are running this as your business as your career, you need that social media to get customers, basically. And you might only think that, my posts aren't getting seen. I have posts that didn't break, that like only 200 people saw, but I still got at least one customer from that post. When you break it down and see how many customers I actually had at an event, it is way lower than you think it is when you look at how much you make. So one person is worthwhile. Even if you think it's not getting seen, one person is worthwhile. I will tell you that, especially when starting out. Your social media is working if you at least get one person. I trust you, it is, because social media is hard, but keep going, because now that I've started, it's starting to like pick up a bit more. So like if you're only starting out, one person coming to an event from one post is really good. Like, trust me, it's starting to work, and it will just snowball. You're not going to get 50 people from one post in one go. Like, that takes time, and it takes building a brand, basically, to do that. Yeah, I would probably say, actually, I thought the location was going to be the most important, but it turns out from doing all this and working through my opinions and feelings of this, that who the market is for is the most important thing, because the wider open the target audience is for a market, the less likely you are to have people to buy your things, because they're not coming for you or for people similar to you. They are just coming just to see what's there, and they aren't as likely to buy your things. So if you can get into a market which is closer to your niche, whether it be like LGBTQ, women-led, neurodivergent, gothic stuff, alternative stuff, like K-pop. I know there's a few K-pop markets out there, and I kind of wanted to apply this year, but I was like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to like go to one where I have to like have a hotel and all that stuff, but I might try it next year if I'm still doing K-pop stuff, so I will keep that in mind. That is the most important thing, and my most successful markets have been when the advertising and the market has been targeting specific people that would fit my niche. And a lot of the time, you just need to see whether that's the case, because there is an exception to this, and that was my first market. My first market was marketed to everyone just to like have a nice, good day out. But my own marketing of targeting K-pop stands really worked that day, because I had so many K-pop fans come and buy from my store. So you just don't really know, to be honest. So if you do think that a market is the audience is a bit too wide, make it niche yourself. I learned from what was the success for K-pop, and I applied that to theatre for my next market in the same location, and I had so many theatre fans come. So it really is, I'm just going to say, when it comes to social media, just try. Like, it's exhausting and it's frustrating to start with. I know, like, 2 months ago, I would have been hating myself for saying this. I think I rambled on long enough, but I hope this is all understandable because I'm not very good at, like, composing my sentences. Like I said, I wanted to write a script for this, but I knew that I was just putting it off and this video was not going to get done. So this is just kind of a ramble. But yeah, I was originally going to just vlog my days, but I find that vlogging markets is very similar. It's like, here is my setup. I will let you know how I get on. Oops, I forgot to film. So that's why I didn't do it. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone that watched this video and came to my markets. Even if you didn't buy from me, like, thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, thank you for watching this. And if this was helpful, please let me know in the comments because this is my first time doing a sit down video like this. And I want to do more of these, I think, because I'm a talker. Even if sometimes my sentences don't make sense, I do like to talk. I do like to yap, so that's why I wanted to do this. And I've heard some feedback from some of my like fellow creatives that like my insights have helped them know what to do. So if that's helped a few people, I want to help more people by doing this. So thank you for listening to me ramble. I dread to think how long this video is going to be. Thank you for watching and I hope it was helpful and I'll see you next time. Bye!